Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you 10 transitions you can use in your video game montages. A side note, I like to keep my montages, or at least my transitions, very clean and professional, so there aren't any really wonky transitions besides maybe one or two. So most of them here are supposed to be crisp, clean transitions, and I'm going to walk you through 10 of them. But first, you can watch examples of each one here, and there'll be timestamps down in the description if you want to skip to certain sections just to see the tutorial for that specific transition. So thanks guys, and hopefully you check out the whole video. Before I get started, you'll notice that my shots here, I already follow a very basic filmmaking principle, or at least something that helps with cutting anyways. That is cutting on action. So the character is whipping to the left in this scene and cuts on him whipping to the left. Just playing that normally, I mean, it still works even if he isn't doing the exact same action. If he happened to be, see how he's reloading here and switching to the left? If he was reloading here and swinging to the left, it would cut even better just because there's multiple actions going on. But that's a trick I used to help in all my montages, and we're going to use that for most of ours here. So the first one here is our Shake RGB. First thing I need to do is find our, we're going to go Shift Channels, and we grab this effect and we're going to place it on both of these transitions here, or both of these shots. Now I'm going to grab them both and duplicate them until I have 3 copies of each. On the top layer of each one, I'm going to have the red on and the green and blue off. The second one, I'm going to leave it so just the green is on, so these other ones fall off. And the bottom one, just the blue is on. I'm going to do the exact same thing over on these ones here. And once they're all set like that, I can grab the top 2 layers of each side and set to screen. So just like this, going to screen. Now, what we're going to do is actually just wiggle the top layer, which is the red one, on each of these. That way we get like the red effect, but if you wiggle the top 2, you'll get like a blue yellow effect. It's really up to you. So the first thing I'm going to do, or now what I'm going to do, is go adjustment layer, and this will be, let's rename it here, this will be the Shake. So let's go right in the middle. I'm going to look up wiggle position and wiggle rotation, so just type WIG, and you can kind of grab both wiggle position and rotation holding shift, place them on here. You'll see it goes all crazy. That's fine. Let's go back 5 frames. So I use page up to go back a frame. And let's set some keyframes. So I want the speed to be 0, the amount to be 0, speed to be 0, the amount to be 0 on both the rotation and the position for now. So add those keyframes. I can hit U to bring up my keyframes here. Let's go 1 frame over. Let's get a little crazy. So I'm going to have my speed on position be 9, and let's have the amount be 20. This is really where you can play with it and find out what you like, too much, too less, but these are just numbers you can, find out on your own. So I'm going to go speed 2, amount 2. So it's kind of wiggling around. Obviously I haven't lowered it over or underneath the reds yet, but that's fine. Let's go 10 frames over, then go back 1, and I'm going to save these keyframes, so just lock them in again. Go 1 frame over, and turn them all back to 0. You can see here that it's just going to do a wiggle, but now what I want to do is grab the red layer of each of these, place it on top, place it on top. You'll see it kind of does a shake effect here, and the red gets thrown out of proportion. Now the problem with it is it's shaking, and you can kind of see the bottom here, just that the red layer has moved, exposing the red here. Oh sorry, the layers underneath the red have moved, leaving the red in the position there. So what I'm going to do is grab one more new adjustment layer, keep this one on top. We're going to type in transform, place it on there, and let's go to our exact keyframes that we had on this one here. Let's have our scale be at 100, 1 frame over. Let's put it to 110, so it kind of scales in a bit to hide those. Then go over here, put the same keyframe at 110, 1 frame over, back to 100. And if I play it, you see it does a quick wiggle. So that is the RGB kind of like shake effect. Now you can make it longer, have less of an RGB, more of a shake. I mean less of a shake, more of a shake. It's really up to you. I kind of like these fast kind of whip ones that just kind of adds to the transition, but it's not overpowering. So that's that there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cop out, and we're going to grab these 2 layers, so both our adjustment layers. I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to go into our second one, which is just the shake. So this is very simple, kind of a boring one, but I thought I might as well add it because it works for these. So let's see which one's on top. Wiggle's on top, so let's move the position one on top. So make sure the scaling one is on top always, and the wiggle one or the shake one is on the bottom. And this is the same thing, just with no RGB. Still add something to it, very little. And really I would kind of not include it normally, but I mean, it's something that utilizes what we've already made and you could use it. So a quick wiggle, boom, goes to there. Adding motion blur would help with things like that. So let's move on to number 3, which is the warp zoom. Now I have a tutorial just on this effect because I really like it a lot, but because I want to include a lot of great transitions, I'm going to put it in here as well. So you can either have it zoom out or zoom in. I think what we're going to do is just have it zoom in. Click on the second layer, we're going to go motion tile. And you see these are used, or this effect is used in a ton of transitions. I'm going to click the box mirror edges, and let's change the output to 600 for each. Now layer new, adjustment layer, put it on top. This one again we'll find transform. Probably didn't have to type it all out, but we have it here. Let's go back 10 frames, which is shift page up. I'm going to put a keyframe at 100, shift page down. I'm going to go right before the transition, and let's put it to say 200. We go a little crazy with this. Usually I don't use these kind of numbers. One page down, so one frame forward. And let's zoom out. So the more you zoom out, I think the worse it looks when you're doing this. So I kind of like it something around here, because we're only going to see this frame for a few like milliseconds, and it's going to whip in. So I have this one at 63 if you want my exact, but we can play around with it. So shift page down, and I move 10 frames over, and we're going to put this back to 100. Now if you just play that, it's actually not that smooth. Well, I mean, I have to render it. I won't render it, but if you just play it, it's not that smooth. So what we're going to do is highlight all the keyframes, click F9, which makes it easy ease. We're going to click graph editor, bring it up here. I'm going to zoom in. So what I want to do is it shows you right now that it kind of just does the speed gradually, or at least it's a consistent speed, like it just does the effect. What I want it to do is whip it on and whip it off. That sounds funny, but that's what I'm going to do. So my plan here is I pull the forward one over and the middle one I push. That way it starts gradual and the effect whips or speeds up at the end, and we're going to do the opposite here. So pull this forward and bring this back, so that way it whips. So let me render it just to show you what this looks like. So you can see it just whips in here, and you could make it a little faster, but that isn't the whole effect. So yeah, this looks fine as it whips in, but what I like to do is add a little warp to it as well. And matter of fact, I might even make this number a little less because I don't like how much it sees of this. So we had it at 63, let's bring it up to 80, so a little less. So now what I'm going to do is add another adjustment layer. If you want to name them, you could keep it organized, and this one we'll call warp. And we're going to type in the warp effect, grab it here, it's in distort. And we're going to see it goes crazy under arc, or where it says arc, bring it down to fisheye. And we're going to copy some of the keyframes. So the first keyframe here we want at 0. And then right on the transition, we're going to have it at, say, 40. Really the value, you can change how much you want it to be. And for it to end, I want it to be not at the last keyframe, but near. So I'm going to go 0. And we're going to copy the same thing we did with these keyframes. I'm going to select them, go F9 to make it easy, bring up the graph, and I want it to whip on. So have it start slow and speed up here, and have it start fast and slow down here. So a graph should look something simple like this, and you can tweak it more if you want. Now I'll render it so you can see what it looks like. So you can see this is what it looks like here without motion blur. So it still works, it's kind of fast. I could have made it a little slower. But what I think really helps sell it is you click on your scaling one, or the one with the transform, and we're going to just enable motion blur on that. I think this really helps sell it. So let me render it to show you. So as you can see here, the motion blur really helped with that. Of course, you could do it the opposite way, where you have the motion tile on the first one, you have it zoom out, but this is the zoom in version. Alright, so this one is the cinematic fade. I'll show you a difference of what a regular fade and what the cinematic fade look like here. You can see them now. You see it does look a little more cinematic, so I'm going to walk you through how you can do this fade. And for this one, I didn't feel like it was right to have gameplay, so I put some angles here, and of course you can download all these angles for free in the description. So let me just render out a little bit here, just so we can see. So this angle to that angle. What we're going to do is go Layer, New, Solid, and we're going to make this pure black, so make sure it says 000. Place it on here. Press T to bring up its opacity. In between the cuts, we're going to have it at 100, so I'm going to press a keyframe at 100% there. And let's go, let's say 30 frames. So I held Shift and pressed Page. Up 3 times there, and let's do the same thing. So 30 frames, hold Shift, Page down. And that's just like a normal fade. Just kind of goes to black. Even that's too fast, but yeah, let's bring it like a mid. So I'm just going to stretch it out because it'll look better if the fade's slower. So now what we need to do is duplicate this layer. We're going to change this one to overlay, and we're going to move the overlay one down. Or at least the bottom one just has to be overlay. And now we can see there's more of a cinematic fade. I mean, this really has to fit what you're doing. And to be honest, on the icebox map here, which is very bright colors, it doesn't work the best. But it kind of makes it look like it's going into night as well. So you could use that to cut to a day for night transition afterward. But that's the general idea. It'll work better on darker clips or clips that aren't like snow everywhere. But that's all you have to do to get the cinematic fade rather than a regular fade. Nice and easy. Speaking of nice and easy, these are very simple ones, but the reason I include them are because I actually use these all the time. This is a very common transition for me, and I find it's just a step up from a regular fade and works well in my montages, but they are simple, very simple. So what I'm going to do is remember this is the middle between these two clips here. I'm going to press the star, which is over on the number pad above the 9 key, to leave a marker, just so I know exactly that's where the middle is. And let me just drag these two over. And what I want is the bottom layer on top. So let me click the top layer, and I'm going to change the blending mode to add. I'm just going to move 20 frames over, bring up my opacity, bring it down to 0. Let's go 10 frames over. Bring up the opacity. Actually, let's go right into the middle. 20 frames to 100, and the bottom one, I'm going to do the opposite. So set opacity at 100%, 10 frames, 20 frames over. I'm going to put it back down to 0. So this is the add version. Let me play it at half so my computer doesn't freak out. So that didn't look that good. I would probably make it faster because of that, and also, I mean, it's a weird cut right there. So you're not the best on how the gun movement is because his hand cuts up, but this is a transition I use all the time. Might be a little better on, say he shoots, and then it cuts to him later over here, would probably look better. So let's try an example of that just because I do want it to look good for you guys. So I'll bring this version over. Let's get rid of these keyframes. Let's have just where he's walking up, yeah. Just to show you how well it does work, because that example was kind of awkward the way he was moving. There you go. That looks a much better because I picked the right positioning for that. So that is with the top layer being on add. Now remember, anything underneath there will look weird, so make sure you have nothing underneath this clip, even if you're using effects and stuff for the other clips. But you can also, if you find the ads too bright, change it to lighten. And this one is a more subtle transition, but still better than if you had it at normal. I find normal is kind of boring, and lighten brings in the light pieces first. And I would even have it kind of fade on a little sooner, and it's just a nicer transition than a regular fade. So that's the additive and lighten transition. A lot of editing softwares have these as defaults. Even in Adobe Premiere, you can look under transitions and there's additive, and it just does it automatically for you if you slap it on. But I personally like doing it here in After Effects because I can play with it more, and if the add is too strong, I put it to lighten. So this is a mask shape transition. This one is a lot less clean than what I typically use in montages, but I thought it'd be a fun transition to add here. So I'm going to go click my shape. I want it to be a square. I'm going to click the word fill and put it to none. Click the word stroke, and let's have it be solid color, 100% opacity, and let's have it to like 20 or something like that. Click the center, gonna go click and hold Control Shift, get a perfect box, say something like this. Let's have it a little thicker. There we go. And if I bring down rectangle, rectangle transform, there should be a scale one that you can play with here. Yep. So let's go 10 frames over and set the scale to 0. Let's go 20 frames, so it's all the way here, and set the scale until it is off the screen. Now this might be too fast, but we're just going to set it and see what it looks like. So highlight them and go F9 to make it easy ease. Let's render it at half quality because my computer can't do full for some reason. So yeah, that felt a little fast, so let's just move it another 10 frames each way, so 20 frames in total. You don't have to move by tens, but I am right now. I just find it's kind of nice. Alright, so that's what it looks like there. What I'm going to do is grab this top clip, move it over, stretch both of these out. The top clip, make sure I go right to around here. So that's where it's beginning. Let's go to the middle again, around the middle here. I'm going to select the rectangle tool still, but this time I'm on my layer, and I'm going to do the same thing where I click Control Shift. I'm going to make it perfectly fit in here. Let me hide this and go down to mask effects, or at least mask path. I'm going to click a keyframe there. Actually, can I do this with mask expansion? Yeah, I can do it with mask expansion, so I'm going to do this differently. So I'm going to have keyframe at mask expansion. I can talk. Let's go down to where it should be at 0, bring it all the way down until you can't see it anymore. And then let's find where it's the full frame. So right around there, we want it to be full frame. Now I wonder if I can just get rid of the middle one here, select the 2 and F9 it, and if it works perfectly. Yeah, I didn't even have to tweak it. So sometimes you do have to really tweak and make sure that's proper, but let's render it here. So yeah, definitely a funnier transition, and this is just a basic shape of a square, but you could really go crazy with it and have it pulse in rectangles and everything, or sorry, triangles and stuff like that. Very simple. I saw this recently in a montage and it made me think of that. It's kind of funny and you could get artsy with it, but that's a simple one that I don't normally use. But speaking of one that's very simple and everyone knows, but I mean, I'm going to do it anyways because it's just that good. It's just the basic whip transition. So here, if you don't have a plugin to do it, you can quickly do it in After Effects. All I have to do is go Layer, New, Adjustment Layer, and all I grab is Motion Tile, place it on the adjustment layer. Let's go back 10 frames, add a keyframe for tile center, go 20 frames over, and I'm just going to whip it whatever direction I want. You can go up, down, sideways. We're just going to go sideways. The thing here is you have to kind of know your numbers, or you can zoom in to look if you can get this exact, and you know that the number will always be something kind of exact. So that makes sense, is that 8 or 4,800, and it looks exact there. Now if you hit U, you can bring up keyframes, you can just see it whips. It's not bad, but again, you select it, go F9, and it makes it easy ease, and you can also click it and turn on motion blur. That helps it again. Very simple transition. You can have it whip faster, whip slower. You can also, I mean, click on it and play with everything here. I could make it, oh, don't click everything there. I can make it really whip in the middle, but that's a little bit much. But something you can do, very easy, very simple, and it looks great because if you're using this on not gameplay, but camera angles, like how we were looking at camera angles here, it kind of, if you have a camera shake to this, it looks like you're watching specifically from like a real camera, and then you have this transition, which is kind of like an in-camera whip transition anyways. So I've done that lots before, and I find it's very nice. Alright, this next one here is the blur plus exposure transition. Very simple one, and I actually saw it in a tutorial from a fellow YouTuber, Rocklian. I can link to his stuff down below, but I thought it was just a nice simple one and very easy, and this is one you could stack on top of other transitions that would help a lot. So what I'm going to do is look up the Gaussian blur. So just type in blur, grab it here, place it on top of this clip. We're going to zoom in. I'm going to go, let's go 10 frames, set a keyframe at 0, as we typically do, go to the frame before, and let's put it to 15. I'm going to change, so that looks good there. I'm just going to make sure I click repeat edge pixels, because I like to hide that stuff there. Now I'm going to find exposure, place it on there as well. We're going to copy the keyframe positionings, keep exposure at 0, and then here you got to play with it. I don't want it too crazy, but let's say 1.2 for this. Press U, bring up my keyframes. I'm going to select the Gaussian blur, go to my, or sorry, select both of them, or at least all of them, go F9, because we like to easy ease that stuff. Select the Gaussian blur, I can speak English, and find the graph editor. And I want it to whip on, so same thing I normally do. Make it go slow at the beginning and fast, and we're going to do the same thing with the exposure. I can select it here. Just like that, so it kind of goes whoop. It's a quick, you might even want more keyframes, so let's bring it out. Now what I'm going to do is copy both of these effects. And I believe if I just copy paste, hit U, and I switch the positioning of these, so this one is around here. Bring that down and bring this up. It should go there, but let's double check on our graph. So the graph didn't really do it, so let's make sure it goes fast at the beginning and slow at the end. Same thing as we've been doing for everything, basically. You'll see a pattern in this. And when you make your own custom things, you're always going to kind of follow these patterns of have it quickly go on, especially if it isn't the nicest looking. So let's bring it up like that. And now if I render it for you guys, it is just a nice little glow and blur. So not much, but it helps. It helps kind of add to everything. And like I said, you could really add this on top of some other ones. If you're having like a zoom in, you could also have a little bit of a glow blur, and the zoom would help with it as well. So this last one here, I've also included in a tutorial before, and it is very simple, but I actually enjoy the way it looks. So it doesn't matter how easy, simple, and unskillful some of these are, if that's how you want to say it. If they look good, you're going to use them. So here I'm going to set a marker in between these two shots just so I know where it is. I'm going to grab my bottom layer, or at least my second clip, and put it on the top because I want that to have it completed. I'm going to bring over this and then bring this over as well. Under effects, you can actually, I don't know if you can see it very well here, you can just find where it says transitions. If I can find it, you can find it. There we go, transitions. What I grab is image wipe. So I'm going to place that on here. And you can see playing with it, what it has the potential to do. So I'm going to have it be at 100% because we're still on this one. Let's go 10 frames over, keyframe, 20 frames over at 0%. Hit U, F9, you can see it as something along the lines of this, bringing it in. What I find is, what's nice is it's bringing in the light stuff first. You could play with the gradient and inverse it if you want, and have the dark stuff come in first, and you can kind of just play with and see if that's what looks better. This is one that stretched out does look a little better. And I find if you're cutting into a shot where, say, the second shot here, there was a lot of sky in the background, like it's a bright blue sky or a bright red sky, it doesn't even really matter, but there's like a bigger piece up top. This almost looks better because it brings in that sky and then brings in the scene. Let me take off the inverse here. So yeah, something like that. It might not be the best for straight gameplay to gameplay. Again, this might be like a cinematic to a gameplay clip, but it has the potential to be really great for how simple it is. It saves you time, and I think it just looks better than a lot of the other options in some scenarios. This would not be one of them, but you can see it works there. You're probably wondering why this one just says made up and doesn't have a number, because I'm literally just going to make up a transition on the spot here. So if you watch my whole video and you've seen the 9 transitions, great, you can move forward with that. But this last bit here, I'm literally just going to make something up on the spot and show you that After Effects is a powerful tool and we can kind of do whatever we want with it. So I don't even know what I'm going to do, so this part might be a little longer. If you don't want to watch the rest, thanks for checking this out. Let me know if you have any recommendations or requests for other videos. I'll hop to it. Alright, what should we do with this one here? He whips that way. Might have it like start whipping that way, then snap back, and then do something with the RGB. I mean, RGB always seems like a cop-out, but everybody loves a little RGB if it's subtle. Maybe we can do it with optic compensation. So, actually no, we're going to go back to the shift one just to be safe. Shift channel on both the clips, duplicate it so I have 3 versions of each, And exactly like we did in the first one, I'm going to leave the top one red only, second one green only, bottom one blue only. It's boring, but I mean repetitive, but sometimes that's what you gotta do, and this is the best way I find to get RGB icon control personally pretty well. Alright, select the top two clips of each one, change it to screw, not screen. Did I do it wrong? Let's see, this is red, this is green. Oh, the bottom one I didn't turn to just blue. So that is a mistake. These ones to screen. Did I mess it up? Nope, these ones are good. So let's go layer, new adjustment layer, motion tile. So I guess this will just stay on it here. So let's go 20 frames over, add a thing for motion tile. Add a keyframe where the position or the tile center is, I should say. Forget I'm doing the tutorial. We're gonna have it go 2 whole rotations, but not fully. So it's just gonna kind of bring it in here a bit. And then when it gets here, I think I just want it to quickly snap back to where it was. Actually, I should just copy this and paste it. Even this, we don't need it to go twice by the looks of it, so let's kind of bring it back so it's just one. Let me adjust this here. So it's almost one and then whips back. Highlight these, F9, select it. But again, kind of ease in on this one. Whip out on this one. So a little crazy for the graph. Goes there and whips back. Right, now how are we gonna implement the RGB? I don't think you can just move this on top, because obviously just these ones move and that looks really dumb. I mean, maybe you like it if you're going for an artsy style. It's not bad. See, we were just playing around and that's not even bad. I don't think that's good, but it's not bad. So what if the top one comes down and just the RGB split on the bottom one? Even that's not bad. So I didn't even use the RGB on this, but I might. So because of that, I might cheat it. I'm going to click P to bring up my position here. Let's go U to see where this is. And I'm going to just kind of cheat it where I just control this red layer. So I'm going to shuffle it a little there. If I F9 it, kind of eases a little. I even want it less than that. So that's normal, just a little like this. And then does like a big snap back, so a little snaps back. Now if I had just a motion blur here, the top red layer won't have the motion blur. Oh, I kind of like the fact the gun is clear without the motion blur there. So that's just combining the two we've done earlier. So it isn't really anything too creative. I've just combined ideas or put together ideas we've done before. Kind of just snaps back. It doesn't take advantage of the fact that he's swaying to the right and then swaying to the right, and that's where we're utilizing the cut. But it's not bad. What else can we add to this now? I'm a big fan of things going out of focus, but I don't know if that'd be a good way for it. Let's see. So I like how crystal clear the red is here because the motion blur is underneath this. What if I go camera lens blur? Put it on this layer. Repeat edge pixels. Put a keyframe here. Copy this exact one onto the blue as well. U. No, you can't really see that. Never mind, see that we're just testing things out here. That doesn't look the best. Maybe we'll manually play with the red positioning of this layer as well. So let's go P. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. U, P. So I like how it snaps in here. So once it snaps, maybe we'll have the red overcorrect a bit. So the red kind of went a little bit this way. I know we're going to see a line on this side, but we're going to just ignore that and think it's fine. Then bring it back to normal. So we're kind of copying what it did with the adjustment layer for the motion tile whip, where it's going to go that way and adjust. So let's see. I think that looks awesome. Just that extra little bit really helped a lot there. It's almost like him reloading snaps it back to the correct color, like snaps the red back in, so that kind of helped us play there. Yeah, that's just a simple one I made up on the spot. It's RGB, and man, it looks pretty good. I'm not going too crazy with anything. You could do it without all the RGB stuff, but I don't think it would look as good. I really like that the bottom layer has motion blur and the top red does not. That I find really sells it. So yeah, that's just me playing, making up a transition on the spot. You guys can copy it or do whatever you want, but I just want to show you that you can combine these tools and really do anything you want if you follow almost the principles of, I don't think it should be too flashy. It should still look good and not pull away from your gameplay or really abstract from it. But this looks clean, adds to it, and I mean, if you do it on the beat of your music, say there's a specific beat right here, it'll really help sell it, and you could use sound effects to sell these transitions. Matter of fact, I would, with anything that's whipping, have like a, you know, I mean, better than that. That's just me, but something like that to add to it. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you watched all the way, a thumbs up really helps me out and take my YouTube to the next step. So hopefully you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.